everybody. It is always a pleasure to be with LULAC. It could not be more appropriate to call this conference, to title it about familia, because whenever I'm here, I feel that I am among familia. So thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome. At USCIS, we are also about familia. Whenever I talk to my staff, whenever I talk to groups like this one, I remind people that every single immigration file, and that's whether it is a DACA recipient, whether it is a refugee, whether it is somebody who comes here on an employment-based visa, every single immigration file is the story of some family's hopes and dreams, and in many cases, the story of one family's sufferings. And as another point of evidence of exactly that proposition, if you go to a naturalization ceremony here in Utah, and we have them frequently here in Salt Lake City, you will see that when people go to be naturalized, they don't just come by themselves, they don't just come with their spouses, but in fact, entire families go to the naturalization ceremony because that demonstrates the manner in which this choice to come to America, to become Americans, is in fact a family choice of pursuing a better future, of pursuing liberty. President Obama has made immigration a priority, and he has directed me to implement a number of critical elements of his executive actions. One of those elements relates to the integration of immigrants into the fabric of our society. And when we talk about integration, we are talking about economic integration, linguistic integration, and civic integration. In fact, there are 16 federal agencies that have come together, have talked to stakeholders all over about what steps they should be taking to promote the integration of immigrants into this country. And so, of course, my responsibility is to promote their civic integration, to promote the choice to naturalize. And so we've engaged with thousands of stakeholders. We issued a call to ideas, and we heard what people told us. And among the things that they told us were that if we are to encourage people to naturalize, if we are to encourage them to integrate, then we need to find them where they are. We need to communicate with them in their language, through the media that they use, in a manner that is culturally appropriate. And so we have taken that advice to heart, and we have initiated a citizenship awareness campaign, and you will already start seeing the first materials from that campaign, which will be a multilingual, multimedia effort to communicate about citizenship with people throughout the United States from all walks of life, from all countries. And of particular importance to this group today is who do we need to be talking to? Who do we need to be talking to? So if you look at how many people are eligible to naturalize today, there are 9 million people as we stand here today who are legal permanent residents who are eligible to become United States citizens right now. A quarter of those individuals are of Mexican heritage. A quarter of those individuals are not only of Mexican heritage, but many of them have now been in this country as legal permanent residents for a long time, 10 years or longer. They are fully established in our society from an economic perspective, from a social perspective. And so what we're saying is now the time has come for us to work together to encourage this sort of civic integration. And the question is why? I sometimes talk about my grandmother who came to this country in 1966. She very quickly became a legal permanent resident, and then she waited 30 years before she made the choice to become a United States citizen. And when we asked her why, she would say, "Pa qué?" Because from her perspective, she took care of her grandchildren, she worked as a seamstress and made a living, and so we needed to make the case to her as to why did naturalization matter? And it's an easy case to make. First of all, Civic empowerment comes with the right to vote. I know that LULAC has decided to emphasize voter registration, voter participation as one of the key elements of its activities. Well, that follows from citizenship. Becoming United States citizenship is the first step in that sort of civic participation. And what follows from exercising the right to vote is even deeper and further participation in U.S. society. Not just voting, but participating in communities, making the decision perhaps to run for office, becoming active in your community. All of that follows. There are other concrete benefits. There are jobs that are not available if you are not a United States citizen. There are opportunities to bring relatives from abroad that are not available if you are not a United States citizen. So we're going to make that case to people. We are going to let them know the resources that are available to them to help them with either the economic burdens that may exist for some for naturalization, but some it's just the fear of the process itself, fear of the test, fear of the language requirement, fears that can easily be overcome if we show the people the way. Among our strongest partners in this effort are various city governments. And so we will be launching in short order something called the Welcoming Communities Campaign. And we've already started doing some of this work where we enter into agreements with municipal governments to leverage their relationships, to leverage their resources to promote the choice to become United States citizens. So for example, we have such an agreement with Nashville, with Chicago, with a number of other cities throughout the United States, and many more to come. And among the key activities in which they engage are the staging of what are called citizenship corners, often in public libraries that provide exactly this sort of information to people. Important also to know that beginning in September, we will, for the very first time, be offering credit card processing for payment of the naturalization fee. To the extent that money has been an obstacle for some, this will start to clear that obstacle. I know that many of you have also been asking yourself what is happening with the President's deferred action initiatives that were announced in the executive actions in November. Many of you know that those initiatives have been enjoined by a court in Texas. That injunction continues. Actually, this Friday we have an argument before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. But while we wait for the court process to sort itself out, there are two things that I want to make sure that we emphasize. First of all, the initial DACA program is still fully in effect. So the DACA program that applies to young people between the ages of 16 and 31 who have gone to school, who were brought to this country by their parents, that program is still there. In fact, we have already approved 360,000 renewals of original DACA grants. But more importantly, every year, and I'm glad to see so many young people here today, 90,000 young people age into the DACA program. They turn 16 and become eligible for DACA. And they become eligible at the point where they are thinking, what am I going to do with my life? What profession will I pursue? What school will I go to? Who will I marry? What kind of family will I have? And it is exactly at that point where we can be helping these young people by offering them that opportunity that DACA provides. But we also need to understand that the goal, the long-term goal here, is not just to defer action every 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is, but ultimately to have comprehensive immigration reform that shows these individuals, that gives these individuals the opportunity to get right with the law and to make a life for themselves. And why I will never get depressed, no matter how hard, no matter how rough things are in court, no matter how much we get criticized in the media, is that the more we have this conversation, the more this country's political system is challenged to finally take care of this issue. We tried when there were 2 Republican houses of Congress and a Republican president. We've tried under this president, and it can't seem to happen. But people need to keep demanding of our political system that we actually put this issue behind us once and for all. Because anybody who is telling the truth knows that these individuals are here to stay. That is the fact. Most of them are not going anywhere. That is the fact. Y quiero hablar unos momentos en español a la gente que están perdiendo esperanza, que querían solicitar acción diferida o como padres o bajo la expansión de DACA y no lo pudieron hacer. Quiero pedirles que no pierdan esperanza, porque yo tengo confianza que va a llegar el día no solo que vamos a poder darles a usted acción diferida, pero más importante, que vamos a llegar al punto donde va a haber una ley de reforma inmigratoria que va a darnos el camino para ustedes participar 100% en nuestra sociedad aquí en los Estados Unidos. Quiero darles esa esperanza hoy. Before I wrap up, I also want to talk about a couple of other important outreach initiatives that we are engaging in at United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Just this week, for the first time, we launched our Facebook page in Spanish. So I ask everybody to go visit that page and to comment at that page. And we also initiated a blog called Compás that will also be a Spanish language blog, and we're looking forward to having everybody visit those as well. And the final message that I want to leave you with is that I remain hopeful. I believe that we will arrive and that you will see me always ready to work with you to promote citizenship, to offer hope. You will always find me at your side. Thank you.